Well, let's now bring in senior reporter Celestina Iria for more on this development. Celestina, this is not the first judge recusing himself over Abubakar Malami case, although all are different. Justice Egwuata cited personal reasons for withdrawal. What might these personal reasons be?
Okay, well, about today, judges before now, they either been asked to recuse themselves from proceedings by either, most especially the respondents or defendants, and sometimes they voluntarily recuse themselves from proceedings. But one thing we should understand that it has nothing to do with the judge's competence or understanding of the law to be able to determine the suit judiciously. But he said personal, so we don't know what personal reasons would warrant him to recuse himself. But we know that for sure that is something that he would discuss with the chief judge, who will now reassign the case to another judge. But usually, if the chief judge see his reasons and see that it would by no means impede on his decision on the case can be reassigned back to Justice Egwuata. But if the chief judge sees reasons with him by person of Chief Justice John Soho, if he sees reason that, oh, indeed, Justice Egwuata needs to recuse himself or did well by recusing himself, the matter will be reassigned to another judge. And of course, we know that this case was first before Justice Emeka Wete, who had taken the both cases, that's of the issue of final forfeiture of properties, I think about 57 properties worth about 213 billion naira, and also the 16 counts money laundering charges brought against the former AGF by the EFCC. He was arraigned, he took his plea, and the case was sent to the chief judge because Justice Wete was a vacation judge. So now the case was supposed to come up today before Justice Egwuata, who was to handle the case afresh, but now he has recused himself and asked that the file be sent back to the CJ.
And what is the implication of Justice Egwuata's decision?
But this development sets the trial back because normally proceedings will have commenced or move forward today from because the case of final forfeiture, interim forfeiture had already been granted, and the court has given 14 days for interested parties to show cause why the court should not issue a final forfeiture. And the former AGF had put up a defense that some of the properties were his father's property and that was put in trust of his father's name. So there were issues were already joined, and that's of the money laundering charges. The EFCC were to open their case and call the first witness. So now it has set the trial back with some few days or few months or few weeks as the case may be, because now everything will now start de novo, which is starting afresh from the very beginning. And of course, the former AGF is on bail, so we'll also know if the issue of bail will reoccur when the case is reassigned to a new judge.
And talking about starting afresh, Celestina, on the average, how long does it take before a case is reassigned in the event of a judge's self-recusal? And what might play out on the next adjourned date?
Basically, because now the Federal High Court or courts in general in the country try to ensure that expeditious hearing and determination is given to cases, this would not take long. And now that the file is back on the table of the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, he is going to look at it and see, okay, which judge he feels can best handle it. As I said earlier, if he feels that Justice Egwuata also needs to continue the case, he can reassign, he can send the file back to Justice Egwuata or look at the judges before him, which are the judges of the Federal High Court, and see who can best handle the case and assign the file to that particular judge. And what will happen next is that the former AGF will be rearranged for him to take his plea afresh. And also, if maybe because he's already enjoying bail, his lawyer, which is his counsel, I presume now, will also raise the issue that he was earlier granted bail by a brother judge who sent the file back to the CJ, and the court should allow the former AGF continue bail.
All right, Celestina, John, I mean, February 16 is only 4 days away. We wait to see how this matter turns out. Celestina Iria for us in Abuja. Thank you.